your mother. It's time for another episode of Birds with Friends. Just a trio of feathery brethren, weathering any season to see the Eagles eat teams like Scrammy's top with cheese. It's Philadelphia. Bo, Sheila, and Zach kicking it cooler than 3 penguins till Zach runs off with his valet keys. He's a real nuanced goose. Pull up a branch, get loose. It's time for some juice on some
Birds with Friends.
The early bird gets the worm, but prefers getting turned like a turn on some
Birds with Friends.
Bo, Sheila, and Zach coming at you with stats and things, flapping their wings
Statistics,
on.
they can be like bathing suits. What they, what.
Finish it up. Sometimes you gotta take them off. What the hell?
What they show is revealing, but what they conceal is vital, right? So,
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first post-game pod of the 2021 regular season, at least. Bo Wulf, Zach Berman, Marissa Morris. It is 11:05 on Sunday night. I'm in my hotel room in Atlanta. Zach's in his hotel room in Atlanta. Marissa's home in Cleveland. And we are here to talk about the Eagles' very exciting, juice-filled 32-6 season-opening win. Nick Sirianni is a genius. Jalen Hurts is the second coming of Randall Cunningham. Jonathan Gannon is Vic Fangio, but handsome. And Zach Berman is here to talk about it all. Zach, how are you?
doing great. Excited for this pod. It is a later pod, but nonetheless, this is an important one, right? A big week 1 victory. We get to do it over YouTube.
I think 11:05 on a Sunday night is actually not that late for a post-game pod.
Well, when you've been going all day, I mean, I was up in the
like
hotel.
you always do, baby.
I was up in the hotel at 6:30, ready to roll today. So.
Well, that's your mistake. I mean, you knew that the post-game pod was coming.
And what time did you get up in the hotel this morning?
I mean, like the first time I got up, or like got up for the day.
I didn't know there was such a. I didn't know it was multiple choice. I
Yeah,
thought
second. I mean, when you got 2 kids at home, you try to get that second morning sleep when you can in the hotel.
Fair enough.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. Well, there's a lot to talk about, Zach. We learned a lot about this team today. I think there were a lot of things we wanted to find out. I think we found out a lot of those things, but most importantly, I think we found out that this team has some juice. I think the Falcons are potentially very bad, but nonetheless, to win 32-6 on the road in the National Football League on any given Sunday, it's a good way to start the year. What are your big takeaways?
Yeah, I think you put it well there. Like, they were clearly the better team. They outplayed them. They outcoached them. There were so many,
shot by you at your boy Arthur Smith.
It was Nick Sirianni checked the boxes today. Jalen Hurts checked the boxes today. You don't want to overstate one game, of course, but this is the sample size we have right now. And they came out and they answered the bells. Jonathan Gannon, same thing, right? That they did not allow a touchdown early going. It was you didn't know what was going on really with the defense. Atlanta drove the ball twice in the first half. But defense stops them in the red zone twice and then does not allow them to score again the rest of the game. The offense sustains some drives. Frankly, it could have been a much bigger route or a more significant route, if you will, if they converted 2 4th downs. I liked both calls. I'll say that ahead of time. Or I liked both decisions. I thought the play calls might have been a bit different. But overall, just an outstanding performance by the Eagles. They deserve whatever credit they're getting this week. And like you said, there is juice because in addition to them being 1-0, like, it was an enjoyable team to watch.
Yeah,
right?
It's a fun team.
Exactly.
It's a fun team. So, I mean, let's start on offense, I suppose. That's where we should start, right? Let's start at quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Mm-hmm. Coming into this season, is the franchise behind him? It seems like a tepid endorsement. He's not on any marketing materials. They won't name him the starting quarterback. They're not building the offense around him. But at every turn this summer, like, the players themselves are talking about how much of a leader he's becoming. He gets voted captain. Like, you know, it's very clear that he has some sway over the guys in the locker room, at least, right? And we saw him get better over the course of the summer. First week of training camp, he was just okay. We said he was getting better. I thought he played well in that preseason game. We talked about it. He only played 10 snaps or whatever. And this game, you know, the things that you wanted to see him improve upon from last season, not turning the ball over. Guess what? This was the first game. You know, it was only his 5th start, but it was the first start of those 5 games in which he didn't have an interception or a fumble that wasn't a snap. You know, a snap related fumble. He was technically credited with a fumble in this game, but that was a bad Kelsey snap. So he did that. He didn't force the ball downfield. He completed a very high percentage of his passes. Now we can get to this because the Eagles' game plan in this game was passes very short. Hurts's intended air yards were like way the lowest in the league this week. But that was fine. It worked out well. He took what the defense gave him. And what we saw last year that was impressive was it always seemed like he had a good handle on game situation stuff. And I really loved the 2-minute drill at the end of the first half. The Eagles get the ball with about 1:46 left, I think. Sirianni had done a good job holding on to his timeouts. They're at like the 40-something, the minus 40-something. And they've got all 3 timeouts, and there was no rush, no panic. It was take the little chunks as you go. You've got plenty of time. And, you know, they end up scoring a touchdown with 8 seconds left after getting a touchdown called back. And that was really when I thought the game was, if not over, really turned. I mean, that made it 15-6 after it was 7-6. And they never really looked back. And they didn't really have much else to do. You know, they leaned on the run game pretty heavily in the second half as it seemed like the game was getting away from them and from the Falcons. But I thought Jalen Hurts in this game, you know, the completion down the field, the only ball he threw downfield to Zach Ertz, a little underthrown. Yeah. Could have been an even bigger play. He wasn't perfect. You know, there were a couple times where I thought that he fled the pocket a little bit too soon. But he is never going to be like the prototypical pocket passer. The good news is that, like, the thing that Sirianni said, that all coaches say, that we are going to coach the guys we have and not try to force them into our system, for one game at least, seemed to be true. They are not asking Jalen Hurts to be something he's not. They're not asking a lot of guys on this offense who are sort of limited players to do things that they're not capable of doing. And I don't know. I think it was a very encouraging sign. I guess we should just focus on Jalen Hurts, as I am just talking nonstop. But I don't know. It was good. I got a lot to say. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I enjoyed you going on there. Look, what jumped out to me, and
filibuster. That was the word I was looking for.
I need to acknowledge it because I have written multiple times this offseason that he needs to be more efficient, and the numbers bear it out last year. And I know, like you said, he wasn't going downfield as often today, but he was efficient, right? The ball was not touching the ground that often. He was, I believe, 77% or thereabouts. As a passer, he was 52% last year, which was the lowest completion percentage of any quarterback who threw at least 100 pass attempts. So the chains were moving. You saw that. He did, I don't want to say miss some throws, but he had some throws that could have been in a better spot. That said, he also had some throws that were in the perfect spot. The touchdown pass to Dallas Goedert, that's a major play right there. Like that was really impressive.
Huge.
And on that drive, the scrambling on the 3rd and 5, not a lot of quarterbacks can get that first down. Extended the drive there. So really, I saw maturity from him. I saw composure from him. I saw him step up when they needed to make a play. And if this is the Jalen Hurts they're getting, then the ceiling is so much higher for this team than perhaps I thought. You know, we did our season predictions last week, and it was this team will be successful if, and I said if Jalen Hurts is more efficient. But if this is the way Jalen Hurts is playing, you can start talking about the Eagles in different terms than we probably spoke about them last week.
Well, then I don't think that this is an unrealistic expectation to have for Jalen Hurts. Like, as you said, he wasn't perfect. You're not expecting him to be perfect. But for him to just, not turn the ball over and take what's there, that's a totally fine expectation. And if that's the case, absolutely, they could win the division. That's not a crazy thing to say.
And I'll also say this, this is kind of I wish I had the word on my tongue right now, because it would make it make it much smoother. This is
I bet the viewers on YouTube would like to see that as well.
This is more subjective, and I guess it's a matter of opinion. But just in terms of body language, right? He has a certain confidence to him, a certain composure to him that I do think that is contagious, right? And we saw that a bit last year, and obviously it's about the throws you make, it's about the plays you make. But when you talk about the juice that this team has, a lot of it comes from the confidence, the composure, the swagger that he brings, and I'm curious to see how that continues and how that manifests over these next few weeks.
I think that's true. I mean, we don't get to see it a lot because he treats, the press conference, as sort of a not, I don't want to give anything away type deal, which of course you can read about on The Athletic. Zach talked to Jalen Hurts about that. But it's very clear that he has a sway over guys in the locker room. And as you said, it was clear last year, and especially, on offense, where his skill position players are all very young guys. It's clear that he has that impact. And I also think that, for him and, some of the actual senior veteran guys on the team, the guys who are captains, it's also about the thing with Nick Sirianni could have gone both ways. And it took those guys all buying in. I mean, we're one game through here. It could still crater. But Sirianni, you could look at him and say, this is a hokey guy. What's he going to tell me about, being a professional football player? Or you could buy in. And it seems like at every turn so far, they have. And I think you wrote about it. But, Sirianni this week used his embarrassing introductory press conference as a motivational tactic for the team, explaining how you get over something that didn't go well. And I love that. For him to imagine Jim Schwartz or Dan Campbell or some sort of crusty, hard-nosed football guy, getting bad press for a press conference and then taking it out on everybody else and just being a crusty bastard. Sirianni took that and used it as a lesson. And it's maybe it's too much Ted Lasso on the brain, but it is I like that he used it that way. I don't know. It's kind of neat.
So I suppose this is a flex when I say this, but I'm presenting in a certain way. I was in the car in Jamestown, New York with his childhood best friend, Tom Langworthy. And we were just having a conversation. It was an interview, but it was essentially a conversation about Nick and about Jamestown and the West Ellicott neighborhood. And he was talking about how he can just put himself in, he's not an NFL player, but he can put himself in the shoes of a player. And it seems like Nick would be a fun guy to play for. That's what he was saying. He's like, I'm not even talking about his friend. I'm just talking about the way he approaches things and the way he talks about things. And you heard Zach Ertz say last week,
right,
that this is
the most fun he's had coming to work in a long time.
Yeah, and you see it on the sideline. I was remarking, or I was talking to people at Friday's practice, and they're having fun out there, right? Like they were really seem to be enjoying a Friday practice. And
I gotta say that in the spring when they were doing the competition Friday things or whatever it was, the competition period, I thought that was nonsense. And I still sort of do think that was silly. But he was setting a baseline, I guess. I don't know. I mean, again, they could lose by 40 points to the Niners next week, and we'll see what happens. But for 1 week, we get to dream about the possibility that this is going to be a very fun team.
And I'll also say too, because that opening press conference got a lot of attention. We have a larger sample size now, and I actually find him to be enjoyable in these press conference settings because
he's earnest.
That opening press conference.
This episode brought to you by Ernest.
It seemed that it actually is brought to you by Ernest, but he's himself up there, right? Like he's not trying to sound a certain way. I do think in that opening press conference, and there were a lot of dynamics there with the quarterback situation and the roster situation and
just the actual physical dynamics of him having to sit on a podium during a Zoom thing. That was weird.
And the manner in which he was hired and the delay in it happening, all that stuff. And the way he's answered some of these questions, it's like he's just being honest. Like he's just being himself. And an example of that is Friday when he was talking about these Saturday night meetings that he has, right? And he says he's been thinking about these for 5 years, and he's been thinking about what he would say in every one of these situations before the first game, before the first home game, on a winning streak, on a losing streak, when you're underdogs, when you're favorites, when you're down players, all these different scenarios. Like he's been thinking about this. And I think sometimes there's this too cool for school element that coaches think they need to have. Like, I'm just going up there and talking, right? He acknowledges, he acknowledges how much, he said today how he took a moment before he went out on the field and thought about all the work it took to get there. That's a really human reaction, right? Like I would imagine, I can't imagine being an NFL coach because I'm not a coach, but I can imagine when you reach the pinnacle of your profession and you've been working for it, you would take a moment to acknowledge it, right? So not to get carried away with Sirianni here, but to your point, I do think that they are enjoying being around him.
I think so too. And again, I think it takes, it took that buy-in. And by the way, we saw the handshake with Sirianni and Hurts, which I guess turns out that it's Sirianni's handshake with his son. I was going to say, longtime listeners of Birds with Friends know how much we care and how much it matters the identity of the player whose jersey the son of a coach is wearing. So I think that Sirianni's son wearing the Jalen Hurts jersey is the most significant statement of franchise backing of Hurts that we have seen so far.
Well, of Sirianni backing, yes. So I mean, let's not.
You don't think Julian Lurie is walking around with the Hurts jersey?
I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying that I think that the franchise backing that goes up to a different level. Okay, but look, if he keeps playing this way, if he keeps playing like he did today, he'll be the quarterback here for some time.
Well, listen, we were wondering what Sirianni was going to be like as a game manager and as a play caller, two separate things, right? As a game manager, I thought he exceeded expectations. There were no moments of what am I doing here? He was calm. He had all 3 timeouts at the end of the first half ready for that 2-minute drive. The only timeout he used in the second half of note was appropriately used when they were sort of scrambling on a 3rd down, and they did not need to hold that timeout because they were not trailing. He did the right thing on the penalty on the extra point. You say 1 yard to go, take the points off the board. We're going to go get that 2-point conversion. A lot of guys wouldn't take the points off the board. It's absolutely the right move. As you said, the 2 4th downs, it was a 4th and 2 I think from the 36, and then a 4th and 4 rather from the 36. And that play call did not look great, although Hurts maybe bailed a little bit soon. And then the 4th and 2 later on from the 20, which turned out to be a Gainwell run. Again, maybe a questionable call, but both decisions to go absolutely correct. I wasn't sure that we were going to see Sirianni be that aggressive on 4th down. So that was that was encouraging. And then from a play calling standpoint, like it was interesting. Like this was a more interesting like offensive game plan. Now they had all off season to prepare it, right? So like you got to say that, but than anything we've seen in a long time. He and I think I saw this. I think Noah Becker retweeted this, and I think it was like a Kyle Newbeck line. But this is sort of what I was trying to say in one part of the day after is that you've got all these guys who are like limited players, right? You've got J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. He can block, okay? Like Quez Watkins and Jalen Reagor can run. Greg Ward can find holes in zones over the middle of the field. All these guys played like a handful of snaps, between 10 and 25 snaps, and they were all used in the way that they should be used, right? Like Arcega-Whiteside was on the field for 12 snaps. He was blocking most of the time. He started, which was a surprise, but that was his role.
He almost blocked the punt, by the way.
He did almost block
close,
the punt.
yeah.
He had what I once deemed an Arcega-Whiteside is he had like however many routes run without a target again, but that's good. We don't need to bury the guy. He's working on it. Watkins and Reagor are getting the ball early, and like it's impressive. And by the way, Sirianni, confirmed listener, going with the screen to Quez Watkins, first play of the game as predicted by your boy.
We all tied at 1. What's the tiebreaker there?
So I don't know here. I think we have to be pedantic. Okay. You said the Eagles would score the most points in the NFC East. They tied with the Cowboys, didn't they? Or did the Cowboys score 29 and then they got the field goal?
Let me look that up. Cowboys, it was
29.
31-29.
Oh, okay, you got it. Okay, never mind. All right, so we all got one. As Dennis tweeted out. Which one did Shield get? Shield got Hurts completes over 20
Hurts' passing attempts. So the tiebreaker is the person who has the most turkeys at the end, right?
No.
Isn't that the
actually?
Where
I think we did once do. I think we did once do the tiebreaker is whoever got something for the least amount of turkeys.
Oh,
but
I have that, and so did Dennis. Like what you wagered on.
Yeah.
Like how many turkeys?
I think in the past we have split. We have, but when it was a 2-way tie. But if it's a 3-way tie, I don't know. Maybe we just.
So the Quez screen was only 2.
Yeah.
So I feel like no one else.
I know, but I don't. I can't say. I can't. We didn't say it was the rule ahead of time, so I can't. I can't in good conscience take it. But I can in good conscience tell you, Zach, that I nailed a bird line. You had said it at Jalen Hurts touchdowns versus Nick Sirianni 4th down conversions, and I specifically said it's going to be 3-2 for Hurts. So I'll take a whiff on that.
Well done.
I did. I felt good about that Quez screen to start the game. Felt good about it.
And you probably
they
should
went
have
3 times.
3 Quez screens to start the game.
Twice in this game, they had 3 consecutive completions to the same guy. They did it to Devontae Smith later on.
Are we getting to Devontae Smith yet?
Sure, we can bop around. Let's stick on the offense. But anything you want to say on the offense?
Look, Devontae Smith, man. I mean,
your voice just dropped an octave because it was like you were about to get a little down and dirty.
Legit. He is legit, and I will. I'll watch the game back tomorrow.
What about his game reminds you of Corey Legit?
No, he is legitimate. He gets open. He's smooth. In the just everything about him is smooth, and the touchdown just impressive. Made a few sideline grabs that were impressive. I keep bringing up Jeremy Maclin because that was the last wide receiver here who like gets open like this, right? Alshon didn't really get open. Alshon used his size.
It's funny because I don't even think of Maclin that way as like a great route runner.
Like in 2014, he was getting open. Now that might have been Chip's offense too, right? But overall, just Devontae Smith is going to he's going to keep getting better, and he's just so businesslike after the game. Like you would think. That
oh yeah,
he's been doing this for 10 years. Yeah, he had
I love when he never gives in when someone asks him like the speed of the game, and he always says the NFL game is slower.
Exactly. Yes.
Because nobody's going no huddle.
But like, this. I'm not making fun of the question. It's because it's always a good little anecdote or it's good color to have. Is your first touchdown, your first ball. And he's like, they took it, and he's like, and someone said, "Are you gonna try to go get it?" He's like, "They'll find me." Right? He's just
right.
He's so smooth at all times. So he is clearly the number one receiver here.
Clearly,
and again, I want to express. I don't want to go overboard with what we saw today because it's one game, and the Falcons are not a good team. And look, they have San Francisco next week. They have, they have Kansas City. They have Dallas after that. They have Kansas City after that. So this schedule can be unforgiving. But I don't think it's overreaction to talk about today in the context with which we're talking about.
No, we got to live in the moment.
Yes, like you said.
Anything is possible. It's week 1.
Also, this is
no team's ever gone 17-0 before.
This is what everything was building up toward was week 1. The reason they operated as they did in the preseason and in training camp was for the element of surprise, although Atlanta had that as well and it didn't work out, and B was to have the clean health report, or as clean as you would hope going into week 1, and frankly, Atlanta had that too. So. Yeah, not a good day to be an Atlanta Falcons.
You want to talk about the Falcons? Should we talk about the Falcons right now?
Sure.
Okay, well, I'm ready. I am ready to give you the first.
Well, here, I'll just say this. If they were like hell-bent on wanting to hire Arthur Smith, like we heard some of these reports, and I like Arthur Smith as a play caller. I said that, and I there's a lot of things about like the way Arthur Smith presents himself and the leadership perspective that I can get behind. But some of these decisions today, for the opening drive, going downfield on the Eagles, third, it was 4th and goal from the 3. Go for it there, right? What are you taking 3 points for?
Well, Zach, I'm ready to give my Oscar the Grouse garbage player or coach of the week. Very easy decision. It's your boy Arthur Smith. I mean, what a pathetic showing. First of all, like you've got the whole offseason to design your offense. And what's your big special trick? Cordero Patterson as a running back. Woo!
Well, I actually like that. That's a good one.
A lot of great Kyle Pitts, who's going to change the game forever. A tight end that the league has never seen before.
Well,
no one has ever seen a guy this talented at that position. Call him a tight end if you want, but don't box him into that. He could be a receiver. He beats J.C. Horn on the outside, okay? This guy, you can plug him in anywhere, and he's going to change the game. 4 catches, 31 yards. Looked like a pedestrian rookie tight end to me, Zach.
Well, I'm just warning you. I would not die on that hill if I were you. Okay, he's gonna be. Really,
oh my goodness, Kyle Pitts from day 1, 4th overall. He's gonna come in and be a dynamic force in that offense. Maybe in a different offense, maybe not this one. Calvin Ridley, like that first drive, they're moving Calvin Ridley around, getting him lined up 1-on-1 with Anthony Harris, picking up 3rd downs. Good job. Never saw it again. Completely pantsed. They gained more yards on the first 2 drives combined than they did in the rest of the game. I mean, the guy looks like, as lots of people said on Twitter, like a funeral director, a used car salesman. I don't know. He's got nothing. That franchise it's a disaster.
Well, this is what's gonna be.
By the way, I had moved in the press box, Zach, as you saw, because there was like a portion of the press box that was more open, and I'm pretty COVID nervous, right? I'm trying to keep as much distance as I can. And so I was in the press box, like where there were some Falcons employees, and they were just dejected, just watching this game, just like, oh man, I can't believe this is going to be our season. Oh no. Did he just drop that? Oh God. Another run. Oh, great! Another pass to the fullback.
It's one game, so you don't want to overstate it. But yeah, like if this is how they're going to look, you have I don't know Matt Ryan's age, but I know when he was in high school. I know I'm 35 and he was a class ahead of me, so he's
Can we get that picture back, Marissa?
So he's 36. Is he 36 by the way? Because he was the class of 2003 at Penn Charter. I was the class of 2004, not at Penn Charter, but so you have the number 4 overall pick. And you have the whole reason you're keeping Matt Ryan is because you're trying to be competitive, right? So that could be Justin Fields. That I don't think it was going to be Mac Jones, but I mean Justin Fields is from. Anyways, I don't mean to go down that tangent. I'm just saying if you're the Falcons right now, and that's how you look, that's not a
pathetic. They had no plan B. They had a good opening script, and that was it.
Yeah.
Pretty bad, man.
Yeah, their opening script was good. Now, but the game...
Ooh, tough question from the chat. Peckness migrate, Arthur Smith, Pat Shurmur, Joe Judge. If I'm the head coach, if I'm the owner, ooh, that is tough.
I'm pecking Judge, I'm nesting Smith, and I'm migrating Shurmur. Right? Smith is one game into this. But man,
well, yeah, I mean, I'm killing Smith, and I'd still have to nest him just because I know what I'm getting with the other two. I think I would probably. Well, you know what's interesting is that what might work in a crazy world is pecking Judge just to set up a nesting of Shurmur because he would be so opposite of Judge that the guys would just be like, "Oh, thank God this guy's not yelling at me, even though he's putting me to sleep." But I think you probably got to go. I think you probably got to nest Smith, and peck Shurmur at Barclay Prime.
So, not to get back to the Eagles, right? I don't think we need to go down this rabbit hole with the Falcons here, but and credit to Jonathan Gannon's defense because.
Well, let's not talk. Let's hold up on the defense for now.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll just make and this is about the Falcons. That game is entirely different, in my opinion. If instead of settling
100%.
for red zone field goals, they have touchdowns there. Like the way that game and so that's why I haven't looked at what the numbers are for it yet. But just based on my understanding. The 4th and goal from the 3, it's not like a clear it's not like a clear green light, but I would have kept the offense on the field there. Score a touchdown on your opening drive. I agree. So
you're setting a baseline for what your identity is going to be first drive of the season. You're going to capitulate and kick a field goal from the 3. What kind of team are we, Arthur?
And if you don't score the touchdown, make that. I mean, make the first time starting quarterback go 97 yards on you. Yeah. So that I don't like that.
Well, just the next chapter in a long history of the Falcons failing inside the 5-yard line against the Eagles. All right, let's take a little break to hear from our sponsors, and we'll be back to talk about the offensive line and the defense.
Now that the world's opening back up, so many thrills are on the horizon. And whether you've been in a relationship for years or just getting started, or you're excited to get back out there and meet new people, when the moment comes, you want to be ready. Roman ready. Go to GetRoman.com/BWF now to talk to the U.S. licensed healthcare professional. With Roman, you can get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for erectile dysfunction, all from the comfort and privacy of your home. Roman ready equals confidence. The confidence that you know you can rise to the occasion in the moment. A U.S. licensed healthcare professional will work with you to find the best treatment plan. If medication is appropriate, it ships to you free with 2-day shipping. The whole process is straightforward, convenient, and discreet. Getting started is simple. Just go to GetRoman.com/BWF and complete an online visit. Take care of your ED without leaving home. Complete an online visit today to connect with a U.S. licensed healthcare professional and take care of it. Go to GetRoman.com/BWF, and if you're prescribed, get 50% off your first order of ED treatment. Make sure you're ready to have confidence and control this summer. Roman ready. Today, many small business owners are busier than ever. Time spent searching for and interviewing candidates can take time away from managing and growing a business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs has made it easier to get to the candidates worth interviewing faster, and it's free. It works for both ways. You're trying to find the best job, you're seeking the best candidates. LinkedIn Jobs is the where to go. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with skills and experience you need. Use screening questions to get your role in front of only the most qualified people. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates worth interviewing faster. Did you know every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/BWF. That's linkedin.com/BWF to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
And we're back on Birds with Friends. I mean, just imagine you're a Falcons fan and you've been looking forward to the Arthur Smith experience, and that's what you get delivered on week one. Oof.
Well, guys, it's week one. I would just be careful. I see you change your name, Zach B. Roman.
Zach Berman.
Oh, gotcha.
It's a good read you gave.
Thank you. That was done at I joked to Bo earlier that I don't know who's in the hotel room next to me right now, but someone at 6:30 or whatever this morning was hearing someone of read Roman ads next door. I can only imagine what if they could hear through these walls what they were thinking. So
if those walls could talk, you know what I mean?
Anyways, I wouldn't overstate what you've seen yet from the Falcons.
I mean, it's just dispiriting. Like there's no creativity.
I definitely wouldn't die on the Kyle Pitts on the Kyle Pitts hill tag.
I mean, I've never seen anyone do anything like that. Not since Trey Burton.
I mean, I'm just saying that, all these are recorded and they're kept in an archive. And one day when Kyle Pitts is this generational player and you had a few wisecracks after one game, I'm just saying.
What's the worst that could happen? He could tweet F you to me on Twitter?
Well, no, but you want to have a reputation for being like reasonable and level-headed. And
I'm not writing this. This is a moment in time. I'm just saying, 4th overall pick.
I was about to say, by the way,
Jamar Chase went out and had a big day. Devontae Smith had a big day. Jalen Waddle had a big day. Those guys all have positions that they play.
I was literally about to say, well, your name's on it, but then I'm looking at the screen and literally your name is not on it. So, okay. So I suppose you could say whatever you want because your name is not on it.
There you go. I'm just saying, offensive Isaiah Simmons. That's all. Okay. So again, this was not a perfect game from the Eagles. I think the offensive line was a good example of that. A bunch of penalties from those guys.
Yeah.
Kelsey was the only one who did not commit a penalty, but at the same time, they were pretty good. They gave Jalen Hurts time in the pocket. The run game wasn't dominant, but they were good enough. I thought Jordan Mailata was outstanding. There were two really cool highlight level plays from the offense. One was the Jordan Mailata just trucking of Richie Grant on the Jalen Reagor touchdown. It was like he was planting him underneath the turf. It was just a crazy block. And then also earlier, Jason Kelsey pulling around in front of Miles Sanders on an 18-yard run blocks two different guys, and then he's taking it to the other guy down the field. Just great to see. Good stuff. So offense, I mean, for all the people playing the Birds with Friends drinking game, if this offensive line can stay healthy, it could be pretty good.
Well, you mentioned Jordan Mailata, and look, we should acknowledge because it's since the last podcast,
Yes.
he signs the contract extension, and I don't want to speak on your behalf, but just a really sensible deal. Frankly, a sensible deal for both sides. I think more sensible from the Eagles' perspective.
I think more
right,
sensible
to get him
from
locked
the
up.
Eagles' perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're Jordan Mailata, like this is
Well, if you're of the
this-
opinion that he could have been the highest paid left tackle in the game
now,
at the
and
end
I
of this
get it.
season,
Like, but there's
I get it. I mean, yeah,
I always say
he's
to
a
somebody,
seventh round
you know,
pick.
yeah,
You know,
when
you
you have
don't
that-
turn your nose up at 40 million guaranteed.
Exactly. Like there's so many things that could happen, right? But I also don't really subscribe to this opinion that I've seen now. The Eagles are taking a huge risk, right? You know, this is
No,
this is the name of the game.
this is what the money is for.
Yeah. Anyone you sign is essentially a risk. You're signing for future performance, right? So
The guy is
like, you could
24 years old.
Exactly. To me, it's such a sensible move for
It's
the
gonna
Eagles.
be a bargain by week 5. Like,
and like even if he gets injured, right? It's
Yeah.
still the play. It's still the play when you.
I thought it was the play. I thought it was the play in the summer when they could have maybe even got him for cheaper. But
maybe so. But anyways, that's a big.
he's
time
the
move
man.
for the
He
Eagles.
is like it is. I mean, I'm in the tank here. Like we all know that. But he's the best player. He could be the best player on the team this year. He's 24 years old. Like
I was about to say, like,
he is the best player on the team now. If you're looking ahead, like he is the franchise building block. Him and Devontae Smith, like those are the two guys who you're building around.
Well, look, it's still a little early for that, but for both of them, frankly. But Jordan Mailata has, it's the joke I make all the time, but it's true. You can't teach size, right? And
Steichen was probably the single best answer Steichen's given thus far as an Eagles offensive coordinator was when I asked him if there's anybody he's ever seen who like reminds him of Mailata. He said, "No, that's the biggest human I've ever seen."
But he coached King Dunlap though. That's what I was.
King doesn't have the junk he doesn't have the junk in the trunk that Jordan does.
But
King is on stilts.
It's a fascinating story. I did tweet something yesterday that like it's an organizational success here. It's a credit to the Eagles for drafting him when they did. It's a credit to Jeff Stoutland for developing him. But and I can't emphasize this enough. Most of the credit goes to Jordan Mailata.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Sorry, finish. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Because he's the one who put in the work. Like he's the one.
It bothers me a little bit that it's all Stoutland. Like, look what Stoutland did.
Yeah,
like this guy did it.
Exactly. So it's an organizational success because you had to have the gumption to draft him, right? It's easy to say this now, but you had 5 picks that year because you traded 2 of them to get him, and you take a guy who's never played football. You have to have the patience because those first 2 years he was hurt, and even last year's training camp, like there were legitimate questions about him. So you had to have the patience. But ultimately, the credit goes to him because he had to get from where he was to where he is and where he's going to. So not to go on it, but I do think it would be like it's the elephant in the room if we didn't acknowledge it, because it would be weird if it was the Tuesday podcast and all of a sudden we're like, by the way, Jordan Mailata signed last Friday.
It was the right thing to do. Yeah, I agree. And he was very good today, I thought.
Yeah, he was very good. I thought.
Do you think people that say this is like, okay, just get rid of Dillard at this point? How do you feel like this affects your opinion of Dillard's standing?
Well, if you were going to get value for Dillard, you probably
would have done it already, right? Yeah,
exactly. So I don't know what the play is. I
trade him to the Bears.
They should have traded him. That would make sense, right? I mean, Jason Peters went down. Football. I don't want to laugh at an injury, like, because it's easy for someone. I'm sitting where I'm sitting to like say, oh, it's obvious Jason Peters goes down. It's really hard to play left tackle. I imagine I've never played left tackle, but Jordan, but Jason Peters does have a history of leaving games early. Is that fair to
I
say?
think the guy that came in after him got hurt too.
I saw that.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know his name. But
Marissa Morris, our offensive line correspondent
Yeah.
around the league, our league-wide offensive line correspondent.
yeah.
Always on top of it.
I'm so proud of myself.
You are. All right. So I guess that's about all we need from the offense, right? Anything else that you wanted to say?
No, I think we're the offensive line.
Heavy 11 personnel. Even though Ertz and Goddard both played, we did see some 12, but it was mostly 11, which is sort of what we expected. But like good varied stuff from Sirianni. I thought we saw there was one point where they went hurry up with 13 personnel and empty. Like Gainwell was on the field and split wide, and that seemed to confuse the Falcons a little bit. They ended up calling a timeout. So I don't know, some good tricks up their sleeve. I'm excited to see what's in store moving forward. I do think we will see hopefully some of those things turn into shot plays down the field as the Pornbot gets into the chat once again, and Marissa is on all over it, of course.
What just struck me off offensively from a coaching staff perspective is how prepared they were. They were not predictable. They were,
and you know what?
throughout the game.
I'm gonna stop interrupting you.
No, that's fine. Go on.
No, and just from the preparation standpoint, like all of those moving parts, they had a bunch of different people moving in and out, and it seemed pretty seamless.
They did take a delay of game early on.
Yes.
I didn't get to the bottom of that. It would be kind of like it would give us a
I
bad
don't even
image.
know if we need
Like if in Jalen Hurts' press conference,
like what happened.
By the way, what happened on that delay of game?
There's Philly media, man. There's Philly media.
Yeah.
They can't just be happy. Be happy with the win, man.
So, anyways, but yeah, we should get to the defense.
Boston Scott, I believe, the only active skill position player who did not play on offense tonight, which was kind of weird.
Credit to you for tracking everything.
Yeah, all the credit in the world to me for doing my job.
Every most other reporters are waiting for the participation chart tomorrow, right? Which we will get 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, but you have it now because you were literally keeping track. So credit to you.
Okay, that's enough of that. All right,
defense.
Let's talk about the defense. And I thought that this was like if you were tuning in, if you had not paid attention all offseason, you were tuning in expecting to see the Jim Schwartz defense. Boy, were you taken aback because the Jim Schwartz defense. We do what we do. We line up and do it well. We try to stop the run as our number one priority. That was not this defense. We saw a bunch of different fronts, and it didn't start well at all.
No,
getting just dominated on those first two drives until they bowed up, as they say, in the red zone. But as national writer and Birds with Friends co-host Shil Kapadia pointed out, the first to do so, the only team in the league that did not give up a single play of at least 20 yards. And I think that was a good example of, Jonathan Gannon has pointed to that Rams defense from last year, that Brandon Staley defense, which is, a bunch of different fronts, and its whole MO is bend, don't break, like force them to take the short stuff, and then score in the red zone. And that's what they did. And they did it, not to perfection, but they did it as advertised, basically. There were a bunch of missed tackles at the second level. The linebackers did not do well, I thought, in this game. But they did what they were supposed to do from a game plan standpoint. And then once you get ahead, you let the defensive line eat. And Javon Hargrave had 2 sacks. Hassan Ridgeway should have had 2 sacks, ended up with 1, and then an intentional grounding. But they did a good job. They hurt Matt Ryan. They hit him. And I don't know. It was... I think you're right that who knows how this game turns out if they give up a touchdown on one of those first 2 drives. But after that, they certainly settled down.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I often look at is third down efficiency, right? Atlanta was
You love a third down efficiency.
well because that's huge to me, right? Can you get them off the field? I don't pay as much attention to yards. I pay attention to third down and red zone, right? Can you keep them to 3, and can you get them off the field on third downs? And if you can do that, you're going to be a good defense, in my opinion. If I was a defensive coordinator, like those are the things I would really emphasize. And third down defense, let me pull it up here. 3 of 14. And by the way, they started off 2 of 2. So they were.
And the other one was like a 3rd and 9 that Patterson run that they picked up. That was ugly, but
yeah. So they kept him out of the end zone.
It's just so funny to me. Cordero Patterson, yeah, great. Look what you did. You found a role for Cordero Patterson. That's because, like, what is that going to get you? Who cares?
That can get you a lot.
That's like, the thing is Cordero is making Cordero Patterson an okay running back. Who cares? I mean, you know how long people have been trying to make Cordero Patterson a thing on offense?
Well, it's actually
so what? Why don't you focus on your 4th overall pick? Find a role for him.
It's actually the type of thing where for years people were saying, why don't you just make him a running back, right? Because he was so good with the ball in his hands. And, when he was in Minnesota and then Chicago started to do it. So I credit the Falcons for going all in on it. And he looked effective in that situation. But
I just think the time that they spend working on that is the time they should have spent finding a way to get Kyle Pitts open.
But this is like our 12th Cordero Patterson debate tonight. And we haven't talked about Javon Hargrave, who was, he put up the numbers. He was lights out there. Credit to him because he looked good. This is the guy they gave 3 years, $39 million to. I thought, we should say too, Marcus Epps started the game, left in the first quarter with a concussion. So
yes.
Kayvon Wallace steps in.
A bunch of weird stuff on defense personnel wise, mostly just at linebacker actually. TJ Edwards starts instead of Alex Singleton and played in base. And then it seemed to me that Eric Wilson got benched in base. He missed a couple tackles. And from then on, it was Sean Bradley and TJ Edwards playing in the base defense. And then when they went to nickel, Eric Wilson and Alex Singleton came onto the field with Avonte Maddox. And that's not what we expected. But, all summer they were rotating linebackers and we were like, oh, what's the point of this? They're just, they're just preparing for inevitable injuries. But it turns out that like maybe that's the kind of way they're going to play. Just these shifts of linebackers.
I forget who said it, but I remember, and
probably
I apologize.
Ben Franklin.
I apologize who said this, but leading up to the draft, like the best deception that a GM could do is like tell you exactly what they're going to do, right? Because everyone's like, "Oh, this is lying season." No one, right. No one's actually going to tell it. Well,
I think that was Benjamin Franklin.
A lot of the stuff they did today, like they were, they had these odd man fronts today, right? And we were like, "Oh, this is probably just window dressing. They're going to be a four." No, they all the stuff they were doing in the summer, they did today. Like they are multiple. They play a lot of different ways. They mix and match different personnel. So yeah, that's exactly what we saw today. And they made adjustments, right? It wasn't just like, this is how we play, we're going to sink and swim with it. They made adjustments throughout the game.
I think that's fair, especially the Bradley for Eric Wilson thing. Kind of weird, but interesting. All right, let's take one more break to hear from our valued sponsors, and then we'll be back to touch on 9/11 pregame stuff.
That wasn't on the rundown. Okay.
I can't cry anymore. That stuff all made me cry. So none of that at midnight.
Okay. Sponsors.
The Panthers. That's what we can talk about when we come back.
Security company Simply Safe just launched their new wireless outdoor security camera. That's right, Simply Safe, the system that U.S. News and World Report names Best Home Security System of 2021. just got even better. This brand new outdoor security camera is engineered with all the advanced tech and security features you want and need to help keep you and your family safe. It has an ultra-wide 140-degree field of view so you can keep watch over your entire yard. It has 1080p HD resolution with an 8x zoom. That means you can zoom in and clearly see things like faces and license plates to capture critical evidence. It has a built-in spotlight with colored night vision, so you can keep an eye on what's going on day and night. It's super simple to set up and usually just takes minutes. And it has an easy-to-remove rechargeable battery, so it doesn't need an outlet and can go anywhere on your property. The camera has it all, and it integrates with your Simply Safe home security system, extending its protection to the outside. Together, it means every door, window, and room are protected, and now your property will be too. To learn more about the exciting new Simply Safe wireless outdoor security camera, visit simplysafe.com/athletic. What's more, Simply Safe is celebrating this new camera by offering 20% off your entire new system and your first month of monitoring service free when you enroll in interactive monitoring. Again, that's simplysafe.com/athletic. Say goodbye to stressful student loan payments and take charge of your future with Earnest. Earnest offers low-rate student loan refinancing, and you can check your rate risk-free in just 2 minutes. With Earnest, you get radically flexible payments, and you can pick your loan term. By refinancing, you can reduce your loan term, save money, or combine multiple loans into a simple monthly payment. And if you have questions, you can even talk to a real live human at Earnest for help. Isn't it time you stopped feeling overwhelmed by your student debt? Earnest is offering our listeners a $100 cash bonus. Refinance your student loan debt at earnest.com/birds. Terms and conditions apply. Now Earnest is giving our listeners a $100 bonus. Refinance your student loans at earnest.com/birds. Terms and conditions apply. Once again, you get a $100 cash bonus when you visit earnest.com/birds to refinance your student loans. Not available in all states. Terms and conditions apply.
Earnest Student Loan Refinancing made by Earnest Operations LLC, NMLS number 1204917, California Financing Law, license number 6054788, 535 Mission Street, San Francisco, California, 94105. Visit earnest.com/licenses for a full list of licenses.
Just sort of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. Thought it was a little exploitative. Anyway, how about Aaron Sipos, huh, Zach?
I missed the conversation that preceded this, but
Same.
Aaron Sipos. Okay. Aaron Sipos, put some punts in some good spots.
He sure put some punts in.
Honestly, yeah.
No, it's good.
He punted well.
Yeah, he sure did. He put those punts in. Okay. Carson Wentz. Seeing a lot of stuff about took a lot of sacks, but it wasn't really on him. It was on the offensive line, you know. And I think it must feel so refreshing for Eagles fans not to have to deal with that conversation anymore. Like how every game is like, oh my God, a referendum on Carson Wentz's entire career.
Yeah.
And don't have to watch him anymore.
I agree. And I do think there was a lot of, at the end, there was a lot of excuse making, right? And we were a part of it too. We were trying to figure out what's going on with this guy, right? How can you get from where he was to where he is? But there definitely is a sense of renewal with this team. It's not the same old Sim. I'm sorry, I'm boring you here.
It's the time.
It's not the same old. So they are different. They do have juice.
You think there's a guy somewhere named Sam Old? Like, oh, it's the same Sam Old.
I would imagine there is, yes.
You should find him and have him on as a guest.
That sounds right up here.
I'll add that to my list.
Thank you, Marissa.
Yeah, Marissa has 18 podcasts to handle, yes.
Okay. Yeah, somebody else pointed out in the chat, good stuff by the football gods, I guess. Carson Wentz loses. Josh Allen loses. Zach Wilson loses. A victory for the vaccine.
I don't know how you want me to respond to that one.
I don't know. Maybe pump in some ivermectin or whatever it's called. Ivermectin.
I thought that I was just so happy football's back, right? College
Football's
football,
back,
NFL.
man.
It's awesome. This is
And you know
and
what's really, you know what, last year, but with the fans there, football's really back, man.
well, no, it is. Look, I know you.
Of course
I know
it
you
is.
make light of it, but it is different. It's
Of course.
nice to have full stadiums.
And the
when
Eagles
you watch
fans
these
showed up in
college
this
games.
game too. Like a lot of loud Eagles fans in the
Yes.
Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yeah, so I look. I'm happy.
Oh, Kirk
the
Cousins
fans
too,
are-
by the way, also an unvaccinated loser.
I'm happy fans are back in the stands. I'm happy that there's football on all the time. This is great. This is exciting. So I'm not gonna I'm not gonna
Last
diminish
week
that. I'm
was
not gonna
last
belittle it.
week was the last week until February 13th without NFL football on the calendar.
Well, I know you joke about that too, but look, this is our job. Before a lot of people, probably the people watching this is as well. Like this, Sundays are circled on the calendar. This is
Of
this
course,
is the respite.
The best
right?
day,
This
the best day of the job is a game day.
No, I'm not even saying us. I'm saying for fans, like the best day of the week is when they can
Oh,
just
sure.
sit there and
It's
watch
going to affect
football.
your whole mood. I mean, that's what's so
So-
exciting about this win for Eagles fans, right? This is a whole week now that you're guaranteed of like fun, being happy, like watching that Mailata block, watching the Kelsey block, watching the touchdown to Devontae Smith again.
And I wrote this
looking up and seeing if you could buy the outfit that Jalen Hurts was wearing in the post-game press conference. Get me one of those pajama sets.
I would love for you to show up on that Sunday's game wearing that. I think Jalen would laugh too. I think he would acknowledge it. But
I think that would be the one thing to get him to laugh.
I've heard he has a good sense of humor.
You're the one who had a little sit down with him.
I did get a little snicker out of him
When was that?
when we spoke.
Oh, what did you? Oh, what? When was it? Give us the. I mean, we read the story, but tell the listeners.
It was like I was just trying to. I was enjoying talking to him, hearing his perspective on things, and his whole thing was how you can learn from every person you come across, every conversation you have, every interaction, everything you do. And I said, all right, so we've been speaking here for 15 minutes. What have you learned about me? And he kind of snickered at that one, yeah, and said I'm inquisitive.
How did you feel about the back and forth with Devontae Maddox on Friday?
It was fine. It was normal. I tried to like be human with it, right? I tried to.
Yeah.
But this is us talking. Our listeners don't. Our listeners don't know. So I was asking. Obviously, we saw this tonight where I expected the Falcons to try to isolate Kyle Pitts on a receiver. So if they isolate him in the slot,
because that guy can change a game,
Oh, he can. And I was saying, as I was about to ask Jalen Hurts, I'm sorry, I was about to ask Devontae Maddox how he compensates for lack of size in that situation. And I thought I should acknowledge, like, far be it from me to call anyone else small. And so I'm like, so I even said, I'm not really in a spot to call anyone small. And he said, no, you're not.
He really took it. Yeah, he's like, no, you're not.
Yeah, you're not. So you shouldn't go on with this question. But I've known Devontae now for 4 years, so I can laugh at myself. I am.
And one more Zach personal question. I was alerted on Twitter to some beef with the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast from yesterday. What did they say? How do you respond?
I enjoy being in the fantasy basketball league with them. Spike's no longer in it, but he was a worthy competitor when he was in it. Mike's in it. He's great to compete against. It's an awesome league that we're in, the executives league. It involves a lot of strategy. It involves so I know that they were upset about an executive of the year vote a few years ago. I had nothing to do with the vote other than one single vote. I was happy with the team I put together.
Did you vote for yourself?
No, I did not, and I would not have. But
But did you vote for Spike?
I don't believe you can't. No, I forget who I voted for that year. But anyways, I would say this. I would say that. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, I would have much rather won the championship that year than the executive of the year. So I'll leave it at that. We don't need to go on that tangent though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we should talk about this game? Like
well, I was about to say before when you're talking about the crowd, I do think this changes next week, right? It was already going to be the home opener. But I do think this is going to be an exciting week in Philadelphia, and that there's
frothing at the mouth.
There's going to be juice. I've gotten, I mean, it sounds like a flex when I say it. I've gotten a lot of texts from people like, "Wow, that was impressive," that kind of thing, and I think there's going to be a lot of excitement. And the Niners are a good team. So
the Niners are favored. That means the Eagles get to be home dogs again.
Yeah. So we should say Nick Sirianni's speech on Saturday night was about the dog mentality. And let me ask you this, because I didn't know how to approach it in my story. Is it DOG or DAWG? And the reason I asked is because he had a T-shirt in Florham Park that I asked him about that said dog culture, DAWG culture. But the way he used it tonight, he was saying it's like a dog when you let the dog out of the cage. And if you're using it, the literal analogy, it would need to be DOG, right? Or not need to, but one would think it's DOG. Any event, I wrote DOG. If I can tell my editor to make it DAO, we can make it DAWG. But he said that his whole emphasis was that you need to just put the play that you just had, whatever's going on behind you, you need to live in the moment, good, bad. And I was about to ask the follow-up, how did that manifest itself tonight? And
you were going to say, I was about to ask the follow-up, how do you spell it?
No, I should have probably.
Maybe it's DOGG, like Snoop Dogg.
I don't think it's that. But he said, he gave the example. He said,
I bet Snoop Dogg forgets about the last play.
He said at halftime, when they were winning and they were playing well, they said the first half didn't exist, right? It's what happens now. So
what now? What?
Which is what Jalen Hurts says. Yes. So that's.
Someone says, "Can't wait until Shield hears this dog versus dog discussion," which is true. He's not going to make it this far into the pod. Who are we kidding?
And then the post game celebration.
Marissa's dying. She's hit the loopy. Marissa has hit the point of the night where the chat is just gonna
They're making me laugh.
She's too loopy.
So the first in like the first week the Eagles were here this offseason, Nick Sirianni gave a speech about connection, and he was talking about the post-game celebrations, and he's saying that there's nothing like hugging your teammate after a win unless you don't have that connection with them, right? It's one thing like to just win. It's another thing to win with people you have this connection with, and so it's even sweeter. And we should also point. We mentioned the handshake, so those are some things that come out post game. So I think we adequately covered tonight. Zach Ertz left the field briefly, came back in. Yeah,
just gonna see how long you could take it.
So
the hug thing was a little weird, but it made sense to me.
I mean, I think he was saying like how.
Sure, of course.
It goes back to the guys need to like each other. They need to have connections with each other. And there's the old Yankees expression, right? 25.
That was Mets.
25 taxis. Was that Mets?
I thought it was the 86 Mets. Did it predate that? Was it the Yankees taxis? Before that? 25 players, 25 taxis. I always thought it was the 86 Mets, but I could be wrong.
Someone can look that up for us.
Well, Marissa's a Yankees fan.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm too concerned with the dogs currently.
This was a big week for Marissa. Jeter getting in the Hall of Fame.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Jeets.
Oh, amazing. His speech
Great
was
photo you put up.
amazing.
Yeah.
Derek Jeter is the reason that I got into sports when I was younger. So I loved seeing his Hall of Fame speech. I wish I went. Honestly, if it was in the summer, I probably would have went. But yeah, it was great.
So when I was
Yankees and Mets are playing right now, actually. So
oh yeah,
Subway Series this weekend.
At the Star Ledger, I was covering the Giants, but during the summers, you would help out with like the Yankees and the Mets. And I remember when he was going to get his 3,000th hit.
Oh, I was there.
Okay, yeah. So they sent me there for
Okay,
sidebars,
right.
and it was July 4th weekend, right? Does this sound right? And so I was there, and I was there like the first 2 days, and it didn't happen. And then I wasn't assigned the next day. So a different writer was, and it was a home run for the 3,000th hit. I would have loved to cover that. I also had a similar example with Johan Santana's no hitter, where it's like I did the night before, but not the
I remember Johan Santana's no hitter. Sam Hallowell's wedding.
I got a 3,000 poster photo, because obviously I had to make a poster. Let's see if the chat can see it.
Oh, very nice.
It's like nice. my zeros were not really that great.
I can't see. Are you rocking the headband there too?
No headband.
No headband on that one.
Wait, this is so embarrassing, but like we reveal lots of embarrassing things. This was when he hit the home run.
That's
you're
pretty good.
happy. What's embarrassing?
Why is that embarrassing?
Because my mouth is open. I'm cheering. For all our audio listeners, you're gonna have to now.
For the audio listeners, her mouth is open and she's cheering. What do you want to know?
Yeah, go on
like
YouTube.
Screaming at the top of my lungs.
On YouTube.
Yeah. So very happy for Jeter.
Jeets. It's a lot of gift baskets he's gonna have to give out to everybody who comes.
Stop it. His daughters were super cute. That was like very cute to see a whole different side of him because obviously, he didn't have kids when he was playing and he wasn't married. But seeing his little daughters and he's a girl dad was very cute. So he had Michael Jordan there. I mean, it's pretty impressive. So yeah, Michael Jordan to come to Cooperstown.
Just toss Michael Jordan like a nice bottle of tequila. He'll show up anywhere.
Zach's face.
I mean, what do I want to say?
I think it's good. It was nice being in Atlanta. I always enjoyed coming.
Did you have some good food?
I did. Now, the last 2 times the Eagles played here, they were night games, so we had the whole day to explore. I've done different things. It's different when it's 1 o'clock, especially if I took a we're an afternoon flight, not as so late-ish. So you get in for dinner, but my initial plan was to. This is true. This is a true story. My initial plan was to fly down early on Saturday morning, drive to Athens, Georgia, to watch the University of Georgia against UAB because I wanted to see this Georgia team in person. And it was one of those things where as we got closer, I was like, you know what? I haven't had an off day in a while. Do I want to, drive 3 hours round trip? Didn't do it. Watch that. So perhaps I should have took an afternoon flight yesterday. And had a nice meal last night. Had a nice meal today. Walked around Georgia Tech's campus yesterday.
Did you see Luke Schenscher? Is that his name?
No, I did not see Luke Schenscher.
Is that his name? Did I get his name right?
I did not see Luke Schenscher.
Was that his name?
Yes. Blonde hair guy?
Yeah, the tall guy.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with myself.
We can wrap.
I can't believe that we have
Oh,
just been going the last 10 minutes anyway.
You didn't go see the Georgia Bulldogs?
No, I know they are DAWGS, right?
Yes.
That defense, by the way, is lights out. That's an incredible defense to watch. I caught the second quarter of that game. There were so many other good games on to watch.
That reminds me. There's one other thing we should talk about. because that reminded me of Ohio State losing, and that reminded me of Ohio State's former coach, Urban Meyer. Good performance. I mean, of all the things I've called, I feel like I've been on top of this at every turn. That is going to be. He is not going to last the season.
He will last the season.
He will not.
He will.
They got blown out by Tyrod Taylor, David Culley, and Nick Caserio.
He will last the season.
I don't know about that. Will he make it to the combine?
I believe he will. We'll see. This is like week 1's a classic overreaction time. So,
well, you know who's a classic overreactor is Urban Meyer.
Actually, I think Urban Meyer's problem has been underreacting. So,
I don't think that's true. But maybe there's a race that we can bring in to add to the coaching staff somewhere.
Let's wrap this up. It's 12:20.
Maybe you can get DJ Durkin to join the staff. All right. I didn't mean to bring your Terps into it, Marissa. I'm sorry.
Hey, they won 62-0 this weekend.
They did.
2-0.
That's big. All right. So we will have our regularly scheduled Birds with Friends programming this week. Live on YouTube Tuesday night at 8, and then live on YouTube Thursday afternoon at 3:30 to preview Sunday's game against the 49ers. Of course, you can listen to them on your regular podcast feeds, but if you want to join the sickos, and by the way, we got some very nice t-shirt designs for the sickos, so keep an eye out on that. Could lead to something. And otherwise, Zach, what else do we need to pay attention to this week?
There aren't really, I guess, big injuries. We'll see if McLeod progresses, but otherwise, just first game week leading up, first full game week, right? They had the extra day last week. They had the Monday practice. They won't do that, so they'll be back on the practice field Wednesday, and we'll have all your coverage on The Athletic and on Birds with Friends.
And, of course, the big storyline this week, the return of Rich Scangarello. What does that mean for the game?
Mike Clay against his former
adds
team.
a little layer of juice. Yeah, Mike Clay against his former team. Jordan Matthews on the practice squad. Lots of good stuff. All right, that'll do it for this episode of Birds with Friends. The Eagles have some juice, everybody. Could be a fun season. Could be just a blip in the radar, but who knows? Enjoy it. For Zach and Sheil and Marissa, Scango wherever he is, I'm Bo. Thanks for listening, and as always, we love you.